Okay, so what if I told you the secret to landing massive six-figure clients wasn't about selling them some revolutionary new piece of software? What if, and stick with me here, it was actually about promising them you wouldn't change a single thing about how they already work? It sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, that is the heart of a super counterintuitive playbook we're going to break down today, one that turns a huge sales obstacle into your greatest weapon. So let's start with a scenario that, anyone who's tried to sell services to a big, established company knows all too well. You walk in the door, you've got this incredible tool like HighLevel, and bam, you immediately hit a brick wall. And that wall is their massive, expensive, and deeply, deeply integrated existing software. It honestly feels like an unwinnable fight right from the get-go. And this quote from Adam McGinnis just nails it. You are going to lose 100% of the time. I mean, think about it. Trying to go head-to-head with giants like Salesforce or HubSpot or some custom-built CRM that's been tailored for their industry for years, it's just a recipe for failure. So why is this battle so darn impossible to win?
Well, it's because these companies have poured fortunes into these systems. And I'm not just talking money. I'm talking years of training, countless hours of custom development, and building their entire company's workflow around this one piece of tech. It's the central nervous system of their business. So asking them to just rip it all out, it's not a big ask. It's a complete non-starter.
Okay, so this is where everything pivots. This is the big mindset shift. Instead of trying to smash down that brick wall, we're going to find the open door. And this isn't about some fancy new feature or a slicker sales pitch. It's a completely different way of thinking that unlocks the path of least resistance to those giant high-value clients. And this right here shows you the huge difference in approach. The old way, trying to replace everything, is a total uphill battle. It creates so much friction, and you're asking the client to make this enormous, super risky decision. But the new strategy? We're just going to supplement their system. This means easy wins, super low friction, and we get to solve a very specific, immediate problem without disrupting their workflow at all. Here's a really great analogy to help this click. Think of those huge, tailor-made CRMs as an iPhone. It's a closed system, right? It does what it does right out of the box, and it's pretty rigid and hard to change. HighLevel, on the other hand, is like an Android phone. It's basically a blank slate. It's super customizable and flexible enough that you can build it out to solve any specific problem you can dream of. And this quote from Richard Worley just captures that idea perfectly. HighLevel's simplicity, the fact that it's bare bones, isn't a weakness. It's its greatest strength. It's not a bug, it's a feature. This flexibility is what lets you stop swinging a sledgehammer and start using a scalpel to fix a very specific, painful problem for your client. All right, so let's move away from the theory and jump into the real world. We're going to break down this incredible case study with an equipment rental company that shows just how insanely powerful this supplement, don't replace strategy really is. So the agency didn't come in pitching software. They started by asking questions, just digging to find the real problems, the holes in the business. And they found 3 big ones. First, the client was just bleeding revenue from leads they were missing. Second, their only way to grow was to keep hiring more and more expensive salespeople. And third, the biggest hurdle of all, they were completely married to HubSpot, with a strict rule that their team only works inside of that platform. So, here's the beautiful part. The solution was so simple. First, they found that gold mine, that database of lost leads. Then they just launched a really simple automated text message campaign to wake those leads back up. When people replied, they'd nurture them a bit inside HighLevel. And here, this is the magic trick. They used a webhook to push those hot, ready-to-buy leads right back into the client's HubSpot. The client sales team, their day-to-day never changed. They literally had no idea HighLevel was even running in the background. But the real genius move was how they proved their value. They built this internal system they called relentless follow-up. It automatically pinged branch staff with notifications every 3 hours until they filled out a quick form saying if a deal was won or lost. This little workflow guaranteed they had 100% accurate data, which made proving the ROI absolutely undeniable. And this is what it's all about. We've seen the problem. We've seen the deceptively simple solution. Now let's look at the absolutely jaw-dropping results this campaign pulled in just 1 month. First up, the investment. You might want to sit down for this.
To run this whole operation across 13 different locations for an entire month, the total cost was an unbelievable $446.23. And what about the return on that tiny little investment? Over $32,000 in brand new recovered revenue from deals they actually closed. I mean, that's just money that was being completely left on the table before.
So what does that work out to? A staggering 72 times return on investment. Let that sink in. For every single dollar the agency spent, they put $72 right back into their client's pocket. It's incredible. Okay, let's just take a second to really look at this breakdown. You see the total spend? Basically nothing. You see the revenue, the net profit, and that insane 72x return on investment? But wait, look at that last line. The potential ROI, if you include all the quotes that were still out there, it jumps to a mind-blowing 124x. Let me tell you, when you show a client numbers like these, you don't just keep them. They start asking how fast you can roll this out to every single one of their other locations. So the big question is, how can you do this? How can you apply this same strategy to your own clients? Let's distill everything we just learned from this case study into a really clear, repeatable blueprint you can start using right away. It really all comes down to 5 core principles. First, and this is the most important one, find the holes. Stop pitching software and start being a detective. Ask questions to uncover those procedural gaps. Second, prioritize the easy wins. Database reactivation is so powerful because it builds trust and shows real value almost overnight. Third, you gotta embrace simplicity. The most profitable workflows are almost always the simplest ones. The goal is results, not building a complicated machine. Fourth, and this is key, always remember you are selling a solution. In this case, recovered revenue, not a piece of software. And finally, the cornerstone that holds this whole thing up. Prove everything. Use crystal clear reporting to make your value completely undeniable. Ultimately, this whole strategy just forces you to shift your perspective. The biggest opportunities out there aren't about ripping and replacing what a client already has. They're about finding those valuable gaps and those little inefficiencies that they themselves can't even see. So the real question this whole thing leaves us with is, what holes can you find?